What do we want to start with? The
I
earliest.
guess,
Yeah, go for it.
I was just going to say, I'm curious because I think we talked about this over email or at the last session. Are Saru and Anna coming back? Because like Selig can resurrect them, right? But their spirit has to want to come back.
Correct. Yeah. That seems like honestly as good as place for them to kind of jump in, begin, if we will. We'll do some minor scene setting first. In those early hours, I know you guys kind of talked about heading out of the keep or exploring the keep a little and just seeing what was going on, and that devastation of kind of the place collapsing on itself was pretty evident from the get-go, and then as well as like the many dead and confused soldiers that you would have encountered. But I think early on it was, the plan to kind of try to get back to the sanctuary, Selig's spot underground, to kind of recoup and reconvene. And in that sanctuary is where you would find Sarah and Anna. Sarah having kind of taken Anna back there in that sanctuary, which I'll remind you is kind of like underground and basically like created out of like living plants and earth, and a very like out of place spot, filled with all these like old art pieces and statuary and all kinds of stuff. And like the ground was like basically like bristle and like intertwined leaves and vines like kind of like form into like seats and things. So like Anna would be kind of reclined on that like living floor. The center had the giant oak tree that had the light kind of shining down on it. Pretty epic little place. And it was also kind of like hidden and protected by guardians and like wind walls. It was pretty badass shit, honestly. And I can't recall if Klaus had returned to the sanctuary. Klaus was the bear, I'll remind you all. Or if he had left. I don't remember where we landed on Klaus.
I think that
I thought he got
was
sent
left
away.
up to you. Like we
beautiful.
said our goodbyes, and because I didn't want to put him in danger.
I love it.
And so he's kind of out there as a wild card.
Well, who's to say where Klaus is? We'll figure that out. He's somewhere. I probably have it in a note here somewhere. So we'll say Klaus did not return there.
At all, yeah. There's also the length of that spell. If we're going to stay there 30 days, I know it's a long time, but eventually, like, he unawakens.
Yeah, I think that was kind of the worry. I believe, yeah, that he was going to turn into an actual bear at some point, and that could be bad. So we'll jump into that, because Selig has. Do you have multiple castings of resurrection in a day, or just at this level?
That's a good question.
I don't remember how high it is.
How do you open a character sheet in this game?
It's a great question. That is a great question, because I have no idea.
That's good. That's interesting.
Boris is rolling for HP.
Love it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Let's get that guy back in the game.
I don't even know how that works. That's cool.
Wasn't his wife one of the
That it put him in like that.
people trapped? think so. Maybe.
Borseal? Borseal?
Yeah, Boris was the
Oh,
dwarf
that's
guy.
right. Dang. Yeah.
Boris is the fuck.
The werebear.
Werebear.
Yeah. Mhm.
Werebore.
The mercenary.
His name is Boris.
Anna's
obviously. Very
friend from the bar.
Yep.
That's a real good euphemism right there.
funny. And his werebore friend. What level spell is resurrection? Oh, reincarnate. 5.
So yeah, he's got more than one. So it could be back to back, I guess.
And then you have so Calic as well would be on the agenda to return. Which means I would need to find the list that I have.
So with Calic, and this is a long time ago, at least you're leaning originally, and I can't remember if this was through email or what, but it's been a long time, because of his station in the rebuilding city and his prominent role, he might not be as apt to take the reincarnate spell because of the side effects that come along with it.
Yeah, it's plausible. And you have some possible other options for him. Is that right, Will?
Selig
yeah.
believes, whether it is true or not, he believes he knows of somebody that could bring him back without the risk of a race change. But that is somewhere not close to here, but he does have travel options too. So he would probably share some of that, maybe not mention specifically where he could go via his fancy plant walking spell.
I'm so just already horrified for the amount of travel options that you guys will have moving forward.
Yeah. Selig plus Steven equals
There's
wide
teleportation, there's travel via plants. There's also wild cards out there that exist. It's kind of wild. The game is going to grow tenfold again.
I know a good restaurant in Moranth. Y'all want to go there for dinner?
Yeah, seriously. That's basically how that works. See ya. World jumping. So yeah, that is something to think about for Selig. But you're also under the impression that it would cost you something, right? Like it would. It's a favor. It's a favor that would have to be repaid.
Yeah, I mean it's yeah. Yeah, I would suspect that he would only be willing to do this because, you know, Calic was his benefactor and got him started all those years ago and brought him up from nothing, and this is not something he would offer if it were maybe anybody else.
Love it. I'm into it. It would delay some other things possibly, i.e. like bringing some of your other friends back. But reincarnate, you know, you just need a piece of a dead humanoid, which is morbid, but 10 days?
Yeah. Plenty of time.
Plenty of time. So you could do that. Let's say like walk through a tree with the body of Calic, and then hope that he returns shortly thereafter, in a day or however long, how many transport via plants you have per day. With a fully resurrected dwarf version of Calic, guaranteed dwarf, or you could roll the dice on the reincarnate, and maybe have a tougher time getting the city or the people to be behind this non-Calic person. So that's kind of the risk of that, and also just it's like one of those fun. Give Michael a. It's like a Michael bottle cap. It's like I get something to use against you guys with this favor from some powerful people.
Yeah, I think there's several options there, and it's going to be difficult because if that is what happens first, it may impact the rest of even the story tonight, which I know is hard to just come up with something on the fly for something this big. But what he would do is he would definitely do one of two things. He would either go, and he can only transport via plants once a day. So if he goes and comes back, that's 2 days. So if he goes...
That's if you go by yourself.
There is a teleportation sigil here.
Correct.
Oh.
In Briar.
Yes.
That Stephen could return.
Multiple in Briarwood.
That Stephen could return.
Well, this wouldn't be Briarwood where he would be going, though.
No, but what I'm saying is you travel via plant to X place, then Stephen could bring us back to Briarwood in the same day.
Oh, I see.
Fun.
And yeah, I think
we're playing D&D now.
Yeah. Because I'm trying to get into character and see would he think that he would have more success, or would he want to go alone?
That's a good question.
Because these people it may not be a big deal for the party to show up, or it may be less likely that they would help for completely unknown people in the mix.
Remember, when you say the party, there's 3 of us. So just in case that makes a difference, it's not the whole Zoom call showing up at their door and like, wait, who are these 7 bros and broettes? It's you, a teenage elf, and Xerxes.
Yep.
And that's if Xerxes wants to come.
It's been like 2 days since he shot somebody in the head. He's probably itching for action.
Xerxes just carried the body of Saru back to the...
Might not be the best thing for Xerxes to go when they ask, how did he die? Oh, this guy.
Why does he have a bullet wound in his head?
Strange arrows, man. Strange arrows.
Yeah. It might even be explainable, like, hey, you see Salig's stature and you see Stephen's stature. It may take them both to carry that dwarf through a tree. But the thing that the dungeon master would have to decide on in this is if Salig decides he wants to walk through that tree because he thinks he knows where, help can be found, the decision that he is not in control of is, are they where he thinks they are? And then will they help? And lastly is, I would assume that they would all come back together, but depending on what those people want to do, they may say, yeah, we'll do it, leave the body. And, he's coming back a different way at a different time. Calic is. So there's a lot of things that could happen there that if we're saying, okay, we'll do the Calic thing, and then 2 days later we'll start resurrecting party members. Well, he may be there, he may not. We may have found him, we may have not, based on these kind of different paths that can happen depending on. And I haven't prepped Michael like on where I think the help is.
I love this game so much.
So
It
Selig,
is.
you keep referring to them as like these people. Who are these people?
There you go.
I'll have to really check the voice.
That's why we're on a session 0. Whatever voice
you
want.
met them.
We did.
In the sanctuary when we first arrived, when you were first-time visitors. 2 twins, very stunning, fetching, probably noticeable. They tend to talk a lot about how people mention how stunning they are. Wouldn't know it maybe by looking, but it is a brother and a sister. They were waiting for me when I met you. I had to deliver something to them. I've known them for some time. Very powerful, very powerful. Not incredibly trustworthy, but they gave me some indication of what their immediate plans were. And it is possible that if we can find them, and if they are willing, they can help Calic. It would be a huge favor, and I don't know how much capital I have built up with them. But for Calic, he has given me so much to I think of where I would have been without him bringing me along the way. And it's the least I can do for him. There will be strings attached, but it's something that I am willing. It's a price I'm willing to pay.
Would you like to ask them before, we commit to traveling to them?
Is there a way?
Yeah. So I can give you the power to send them a message, and you could ask where they are and if they're willing to help. I can do that via arcane abeyance and make the sending spell into something tangible, and Selig could then cast it.
And would
Stephen is sick.
I know? Would I have to know where they are?
No, as long as they are on this plane, I believe. Okay, well, I wanted the text, so that's cool.
Oh wow! It only gave
Yeah, what the hell's
details.
going on? What happened to all the text?
Is it dumped out of the sheet?
Yeah, what's going on here? Ooh.
Love that.
Okay.
You love that.
Well, fine. I'll search the compendium like a whore.
We're playing on hard mode.
Yeah.
Yeah. What the hell? We do have doors and windows now. I'll have to open a map and that's that and show you because it's kind of cool.
There.
Yeah, shit's cool. I played with that a little bit.
Yeah, you guys can open if they're not locked, or see through them if they're open. Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, so if even if they're on another plane, you could even ask them, though. They're on another plane. I don't know if you can travel the planes, but yeah, so we can get a message to them.
Um,
I don't know if that's better. We don't have to, but you know, if
yeah.
if we're worried about them even being willing to help, that might be worth feeling them out, if you will. Will. Before we travel there.
He would be willing to do that. He doesn't think it's any more or less of a chance of success. Like diplomacy is not going to grant this favor. It is, does he have something that the twins find valuable either now or in the future? It's not going to be a matter of him talking them into it. So whether he sends it via sending or whether he, shows up in person, it's probably going to be the same result. He would think.
Well, up to you then.
And I'll have to write up the twins' backstory faster than I anticipated, and get them on the board. But I mean, for now, like without having written that up, we're kind of putting Michael on the spot to say would they do it and where they are.
Oh, this is beautiful.
And I have an idea of what they would say back, but that does not necessarily mean that that's what they would say.
Sending them a message, I think, is a good route to take. Basically, just to ensure that they are where you think they are. So you're not wasting more time. Because I think when it comes down to it, it's like, well, if we do this, we're leaving, we're spending big money, in the sense that time is like everything at the current moment with the unknowns that we have. Like you can imagine the stare you're getting from Sarah when it's like, no, we're leaving to save this dwarf, like, yeah, she's like sitting there next to the body of Anna, like, fucking kidding me.
And he would. I mean, it sounds heartless, but he would be more concerned about saving Kalik than anybody else.
No, and it actually makes sense. And like, I think there's that interesting thing where like, obviously Steven wants to bring Anna back, but he also understands how important it could be to have Kalik return.
Yeah, Steven wants control of the city, to go the right way. So
there's like this kind of interesting tension that is really amazing. So like that is all real. But then there's like kind of making sure like, okay, like if we're going to do this, then let's make sure that we're at least going to get the chance to talk to him. So you have, your 25 words to basically say like, hey, I'm going to show up. Are you where I think you are? And I have something to exchange, like I have something to ask of you, and there's something that they're gonna generally want.
We're after the resurrection spell now, right?
I believe I couldn't tell you what it's called. I assume resurrection.
Okay.
True resurrection or something like that, right?
I think the level 5 is raised dead, but resurrection is a higher level one.
Yeah, I don't recall. I know there's all like these slight differences between them all. Resurrection is 7th level and can just bring back somebody that has been dead for no more than a century. So there's that. Raised dead.
Raised dead is doesn't turn them into a zombie. It works normally, correct? Where I'm going with this is,
I think so.
Just to throw one question out there. There were a ton of spellcasters that the brain had captured and was siphoning off their power.
Sure.
Do we know if any of them would have that capability?
As far as like the people within the city, you don't believe raised dead is something that anyone would be willing to do. Raised dead is essentially reincarnate without the catch.
Got it. Okay. So we're after your twins, who I definitely don't remember at all.
Remember them as soon as he said it. They were basically arguing and they left.
Yeah, it was.
They just poof vanished.
Appearance.
Okay.
They were in the sanctuary.
Just enough for them to do something later. I wasn't thinking now, but
here they are. But here they are. Yeah, they were right in the sanctuary when he was first coming. Yeah, lovely. I think we'll get into probably more details on it at some point, but I do believe that they will basically tell you that they are, in fact, where Selig expects them to be, that Selig can come along with whomever and bring the dwarf, and that there will certainly be a cost that they will cash in on at a later time.
Right. Blank check.
Yeah, that's what they want, and like their response comes in a way that isn't surprising to you. Like it's like, of course, like there's going to be a cost for this, and like we're going to be on the hook, and there's no way to avoid the hook. So that's the thing. If we do this, we're on the hook, and it's going to be a thing. But you get a dwarf in return. Worth?
Yeah, he would definitely do it, and I don't think anybody in the party would argue either, just because there's that huge power vacuum in town right now.
Yeah. And if you recall, Calic was seen at the battle and then came to you guys to continue the fight before getting shot in the face. With a gun.
As much as Steven hates the idea of them having this over us, 16% chance of rolling dwarf on reincarnate are not.
It may or may not be worse than that, because the burnt has its own table.
Oh, really? Does it? Gotcha. I didn't realize that. I was just reading the one Will put in. So yeah, at best, 16% chance. Not the kind of odds he likes to dance with. So let's do it.
It may be better since there's no gnome.
That's true.
Bucking up the percentages.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
Knowing Michael, it's literally all halfling. Like 99% halfling, 1% human. That's it.
Okay, awesome. So we'll do that. Just for shits and giggles, if you were to do a reincarnation, does someone want to roll a D100 and I'll tell you? Because God, I just got it. 81. 81! It is not dwarf.
Cool.
Human.
Would have been a problem.
Would have been a human. The more you know. Awesome. Okay. So for now, we might touch back in on that scene at some point. But in my brain, how it happens as of right now is when you guys go, you end up in this place that Will can probably describe. I don't know if he needs to write a backstory first or if he needs to be able to tell me right now. and the twins, these two elves, basically look exactly the same. One male, one female. Will kind of greet you, and they are like odd creatures. These two, very like, I don't even, like Alice in Wonderland style, like weird royalty, right? Like just kind of odd beings, alien-ish, like just strange, eerie, but like incredibly charming and like just like otherworldly beauty, which is why it's a little almost kind of creepy. But it doesn't, some negotiation may or may not engage in, but you're here for one thing, they know what it is, and they will want a favor. A favor that they will essentially tell you that they will be in contact with you soon to speak about. But they give you an invitation. An invitation that you essentially realize is like a requirement. Like there's no on the checkbox. The RSVP is already checked and it is yes. And they are just asking you to attend to something that they call muster. And they aren't really, you can tell they're not going to get into details about it. And it's a little uncomfortable. And it's probably a little weird. But they tell you to leave the body. And that Calic will be right where you want him to be in a day.
Can we know when muster is?
You don't. They said they'll get to you with the date.
Great.
Yeah.
Good.
But they can't wait to see you there.
I'd be excited, but I don't know when to be excited. So don't mistake my lack of excitement as a referendum on the muster. I'm all about the muster, but I don't know when it is. If it's tomorrow, I want to start getting excited. If it's 6 months from now, well, call me in 5 months and I'll start, gearing up. But
they let you know that they'll take care of all the details, the clothes.
Good.
Just all the details they'll take care of.
Gotta be the same day we're supposed to meet Gildor.
100%.
And
might as well put it on the calendar in pen.
Any food or drink that you have in this place is like really like they offer you like it's like very, very nice. Like you can tell this just by tasting, eating, whatever. Like it's high quality shit. And you leave a body of a dwarf behind as you return to where do you bring him back?
Briarwood.
Yeah, and did you go to the main keep?
Yeah.
At your spot?
I think so.
All right. Wow, this has just been the greatest. I feel like I have come out of this with just a big gift. Not me and Will are going to be emailing again, just like old times, Will.
Just like old times.
Right back on the horse.
It's a perfect time for tax season to end.
Sick.
Will this also end up with one of Will's characters getting murdered by the rest of the party members?
Oh, yeah. Also, 100%. That's locked in, too.
You never know.
Big old, two big old gleaming fishing boats right there. It's beautiful. The beautiful twins. Yeah, the next day, I don't know where you guys are probably staying at this point, the sanctuary, wherever, but you get word either from your own scouts in the streets, like Arthur going up or whoever, that like people are like talking about Calic being back and showing back up, and he does, and he doesn't remember how he got to where he got to, but he woke up at the Dune Dragon estate, like in his bed the following day. He does remember getting shot in the face by Xerxes, but
fake news.
yeah. But he also
We have alternate footage that shows otherwise.
yeah, it's like, oh, it wasn't. It was the cat. It was the cat that shot me in the face. Shocking.
Tucker Carlson will be releasing the footage of Xerxes that gets him cleaved.
It's just a huge twist. It's a huge twist that it was the cat, and then luckily Xerxes was there to put down the cat.
Thank goodness.
After it shot Cal.
I mean, I've been told that Mind Flayer tentacles, when they pierce skin, look just like bullet holes.
Just like a bullet hole. They just have that little hole, some singe marks there.
And they leave behind like a little bit of iron in there.
It's weird. They just leave it in.
They are alien to our planet, so
you don't know what they're doing that for.
We found weird technology in the basement of the keep, so
a lot of weird stuff.
A lot more research needs to be done, but we're on it.
All right, I love it. We've already done some high level spells today. It's great. So Calic taken care of. And that's kind of stated in that email, because I totally knew that this was going to happen exactly like that. But he's returned just like his own self, which makes things even easier. The city is generally on his side, as a massive amount of them were out there, saw him, and then you know how the stories just continue to go. Like he's a hero. He was fighting for us against evil, essentially, you know. So that starts becoming pretty easy to kind of implant him as this figurehead, and you know he's working with you guys at this point. So so that kind of takes care of the Briarwood situation, at least to begin with. Now you have your kind of in with like kind of taking and keeping control of the city. So that leaves
Anna and Saru.
So let's do our like 8 o'clock break real quick and then jump into that. Welcome back to D&D. Now we move on to something else. What would it be if there wasn't a little bit of dialogue here? All right. From darkness comes a blurred field of gray. Your eyes slowly blink and adjust to the light. How long has it been? Seconds? Hours? Days? Longer? You don't remember. How did you get here? Where is here? It's somehow very familiar, but also wholly new. As far as the eye can see is swirling gray and white, like clouds on an overcast day. You scan the horizon, looking for what you can't say. What or who, maybe? Yes, who. You were just with someone. Not here, but somewhere else. Your thoughts are blurred. It's so hard to remember anything from before. Before what, you think to yourself. Then you hear it. A whisper on the wind. It's so quiet, you have to strain just to make it out.
Oh, no.
Suddenly your eyes widen, and you see a massive greatsword emanating a field of magical suppression, slowing your senses, silencing the blade song. It cuts down hard through your shoulder, and you crumple to the floor beneath the weight of its heavy steel. And your world again goes black.
Oh, no.
But not this world. For here you are, standing amongst this fog-bound sea of gray.
Oh, no.
A door. Was it here the whole time? A single door standing amongst the fog, not but 20 feet before you. Not anchored to any one thing. It's familiar to you. There seems to be some warmth coming from the direction of the door. Anna, what do you do?
Anna. She stands up. She kind of like looks around. She's like, as things are coming back to her, she's feeling like this like range of emotions from like frustration to anger to sadness to disbelief, but also is like the voice, she heard has got some recognition. So she kind of pauses for a moment, looks at the door, and opens it and walks through.
Anna, as you push open the door, you are greeted with the sounds, smells, and merriment of a familiar Road's End tavern. Mud-caked patrons fill the interior, smiling and laughing as they converse over pints and the day's stew. Only a few seem to look up or take notice as you walk through the door. A young barmaid spins through a small gap between some tables, carrying 2 fistfuls of heavy tankards, just as a rotund man heaves back his wooden chair to stand, sending that barmaid and her tankards tumbling to the floor in your direction. What do you do?
She's pretty overwhelmed by being back at the Road's End, and while she wishes that she would like challenge the person and help the barmaid, who she was when she frequented this bar was like a pathetic person. And I think she's thinking these thoughts of like, I just died. Oh shit, I just died. I'm dead. And like, I think she kind of reverts back and sort of just tries to ignore what's happening in front of her and like keep walking.
So you start slowly kind of moving through the crowd. You can see that barmaid on the floor, and there are just people everywhere. And it is such a familiar feeling around. Everyone is so happy and laughing, and like it is just the bar atmosphere. Is there somewhere you're trying to get to in the bar?
Probably like a corner, like just finding a corner to be by herself in and like sit. I don't know what she didn't know what she was expecting when she walked in, but this was like not it.
So you
like,
kind
she's
of
probably like, she's like, you know, I don't know what the equivalent of it is. Like, I've gone to hell. I've like, this isn't where I was supposed to be when I died. I'm in hell now. Oh God. You know, whatever the canonical equivalent of that in the bird.
Oh, does exist in its world. As you kind of scan the room, looking for like a corner spot, you see this kind of dark corner in that side of the room, and you start kind of making your way there. As you do, there's like some patrons coming, and you kind of like move to get out of the way, and just as one like impacts your shoulder, he just turns into like wisps of fire. And then you look, and around the room you see everyone slowly kind of dissipating and vanishing into this gray white fog. And the familiar sounds, smells, and warmth within this place all kind of vanish, leaving you now alone in a quiet, dim, and cold room. You were on your way to the corner and this happens, and you're scanning, and you look around the room and you notice that there is a single figure that still resides in the room. A woman sitting atop a wooden stool. She has flowing stark white hair that cascades over a charcoal-colored coat, unburdened by any tangles or knots. Her face is concealed in a shadow, turned away toward a pale hand resting atop the bar, delicately twisting a wine stem, watching the gentle swirl of dancing maroon liquid in the glass, clockwise, then counter, back and forth, just kind of swirling this glass.
Is there a stool next to her?
On either side, empty stools.
Anna will go up and sit next to this person that she's pretty confident. She knows who this is. And she'll just like look at her and she'll say, so how does this shit work now? Can I just like think of a jug of ale and it appears on the bar?
I think you know how bars work.
Not when there's not any bartenders.
I think it's on the house then.
So Anna will try to think really hard. Assuming nothing changes. And then she'll maybe like drop her guard down a little bit. And be like, well, you probably saw that I fucked it up down there. Did you do better?
Things proceed as they must. Ever moving forward. Who knows what is good and what is bad? Only tomorrow will tell.
Shit, Isabel, I'm dead. You can't give me more than that? It's nice to see you too.
Yes. It is good.
What happened? What happened? What happened to you?
I went where I needed to go. And discovered who I really am. I'm sorry for the abruptness of it all, but these things don't wait.
Look, Isabel, I get it. I know you and I trust you. Steven, however, I don't know what, if anything, you can do in our realm, in our plane, but I don't know if you could just like let him know that you're still fighting and that you care about him. It would probably help.
I think he already knows that. He's fighting with himself over it now. Even though he doesn't know it.
It's big. That's a big gamble, Isabel. Maybe just double check. That's all.
We'll see.
But who are you then? If you're not Isabella, see how good my memory is here. Isabella, something von Amselweiss. Then who are you?
Yes, that is one name I have gone by. And it's not that I'm not Isabel. It's that Isabel is more than just Isabel. I realized before I left my fate was intertwined the goddess of the stars, the one we met in a place built on memories much like this place.
This is Connor. Is that Knockgeet? Is that who I would think of? Michael? Yeah. Okay. Thanks. I should have reread the current PDF. So I'm just pulling straight from memory. So not bad. Okay.
You didn't know you were getting thrown into this?
I didn't know I was getting thrown into it, but I figured there'd be something. But yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. So are you... Oh, I probably know what kind of cryptic answer I'm going to get from you, but are you Knockgeet reincarnated, or Knockgeet see this coming and plant some of herself in Isabel to survive? Time moves forward, time moves backwards. I mean, look, having spent these past few months with Steven, my conception of time definitely is getting pushed here. So I'm pretty open to whatever weird shit comes out of your mouth. Not Isabel.
Not wrong. It is weird. And even I have yet to fully understand all sides of it. But it is slowly mounting in my mind of all of what I really am and all of what the others were as well.
Do others need to seize this mantle to have any chance? Because
I am not sure I can do it on my own. So yes, I believe that course of thinking is a good start.
this sounds bigger than just an ember. You are if I tracking with you, you are the divinity. obviously you are something more. And I see. I mean, I've had to be a little bit of a dick, but I can see Isabel in there somewhere. But sounds like some sort of death and rebirth is taking place.
Or new possibilities of new versions of a distant Nothgeeth have emerged and intertwined with others. From past or future or parallel.
So, you just get to hang out here at the bar
Well,
with the dead woman.
we could for a while. There's no rush. But if you so wish, the time could be now.
The time could be now for what?
As you say that, you watch as her hands kind of grasp the wine glass that she was holding before a bit more firmly. She slowly lifts it to her lips, taking a long drink. And in the blink of an eye, Anna, the woman before you is suddenly changed. Sinewy veins crawl over her coat. You see the veins in her hands darken as her fingernails sharpen. Her stark white hair now stained with crimson red blood. And as the glass leaves her lips, she holds it before her, brows furrowed, eyes now crimson red, staring deeply into the liquid left within the glass. Just holding that stare as she resumes.
The aberrations, the corruption, the one called Rodaric, the burning, each is but a means to an end. Weapons in a great war being waged on life and existence itself. Not forewarning, I, too, would have been part of the same layer of ash, choking the life from the mortal world, extinct like the rest of my kin. Still, I'm hunted by dogs who belong to a master who has yet to be unmasked. But dogs cannot hunt those who they do not know. And the death of Lestriana Rylinia has given us opportunity. It is never too late to become someone different, someone new. While your friends continue after the embers, it is time for you to walk a new path.
Another blink of the eye, and an older woman begins to stand up from the bar top. She straightens her posture and relaxes her demeanor. The veins previously crawling over her solidify into a deep crimson coat trimmed with silver. Her hair slicked back and held into place by a black jeweled circlet that shines like the stars of the night sky. She reaches within her coat, removing a familiar necklace, the same holy symbol of Hellwind she had carried from the first day you met her, from around her neck. She extends her arm, holding the symbol tightly in her fist above the glass of wine. Slowly, you see 3 small droplets of crimson red blood drip down from her balled fist and into the liquid before she releases her grip on the symbol, and it falls in after, sending purple swirled red splashes out of the top of the glass as it shakes to find balance back on its delicate stem. The thin silvery chain attached to the submerged symbol still hanging over the lip of the glass. She moves back from the bar and toward the tavern door where you first entered. She does not look back while saying,
They'll be calling soon. And goodbye.
and as the door opens, you are blinded by a brilliant white light from beyond, along with sounds of crashing waves, rustling palms, insects chittering, and exotic bird calls. Just before it shuts, you swear you hear the faint but familiar sound of a light-hearted tune from a woodwind instrument. And with a heavy clunk of the door closing, now only silence, as you are left alone, sitting at the bar of an empty Road's End tavern, your eyes drawn back towards the wine glass before you. In it, a holy symbol submerged beneath the commingling of wine and blood. And we fade to black on that scene. And bravo. Bravo. Okay. So happy right now. Brilliant. Brilliant. And then we fade in. Oh yeah, what else you got?
Oh no, I just was a comment of like, how to try to convince Anna of like the never too late to be someone new, someone different. That was good.
Then we fade into the sanctuary where Salik. What is the ritual of reincarnation to Salik? How does he do it?
So if you remember, and this might actually seem a little out of place, but he would probably do it in a manner that at least makes it work. Whenever he casts very important spells, he has that like hand xylophone that he plays as he is doing the verbal components. And so it would be almost like almost like that portion of the circus where like it goes from joy to kind of more somber, and they start playing the tenor sax, and it has that kind of unique sound where it's kind of like a trumpet, it's kind of like circus music, but it's also kind of really somber. Something like that with this hand accordion as he's saying but almost singing the spell, and of course it has to use the material components as well, so there are musical breaks as he does what he needs to do in that. But it's almost like you wouldn't suspect that he has done this a lot, but it appears very fluid.
So as these sounds are kind of ringing out in this place, presuming everyone's kind of gathered around, watching as this spell kind of takes hold. And you kind of see as the body that is kind of set out starts to essentially disintegrate in that moment, just disappear. And in that moment, that is like a maybe shocking to some looking on, like Sarah, I assume, gasps. But then there's just like this bright light kind of appearing in that, taking the form of a humanoid where Anna's body once was, just kind of like shining through. As that light kind of fades, you can see someone there in that light. Connor, what does this person look like?
Well, conveniently, this person looks decently familiar to Anna. It would be the kind of like person that if you were like walking down the street and you saw them and you would be like, hadn't seen Anna in a while, you'd like turn and be like, is that Anna? You know, like that kind of close look recognition. Same hair, you know, the shining red hair, sort of similar features, but they're not as sharp. You almost might say they're about half as sharp as her normal elven features. She has more human characteristics. She might actually be able to, you know, I imagine from like Anna like looked like the most elf being of like the royal family, you know, of like, you know, there was probably centuries of inbreeding. If we know anything about royalty there, you know, this just sort of how the shit works apparently. But they're not that distinct, you know. She could try to pass for an elf, she could try to pass for human. I also think she looks, you know, for her, she looks a lot younger. She had really done a lot of self-inflicted damage to her body. And so, like, you know, she was not very old for being an elf. And so, like, I think, you know, when I picture her being reincarnated, I picture this body that, like, is free of these scars, free of all these blemishes on her arm, on her legs. You know, this is the kind of the drain of the toll that it would, that being the blood hunters are taken on her. Yeah. That's, like, I think it would be a noticeable feature for people who knew her well.
And it's interesting for during this whole thing, like, she would have likely, you know, been stripped down of all her things, all of her earthly possessions, as like she kind of like basically disintegrates into this nothing and comes back. Something notable upon her return that was clearly not on her form before is she's wearing this necklace, a thin silver chain with a pendant, a delicate ring of gold that you could cup easily with your palm, encircling not the 3 leaves of hell, but this time a silver crescent moon with a teardrop ruby gem kind of like hanging from its tip. She's just wearing that around her neck, notably. Also notably, as she has kind of a hard time recognizing people. As she kind of like gets up and looks around, there's this somewhat strange recognition as she kind of looks at you all, but also this distance and almost like nervousness. Like there's something kind of like missing. And that's not necessarily what you'd expect. Like, there is almost an amnesiac quality to this person that kind of returns. This someone like waking up from a dream and not really remembering each of you. She sees you and she looks at you and it's like, she knows you're friends. She knows you're close to her. Like she can sense that, she can feel that. But there's something there that's strange. And Anna, you don't fully remember everything that's happened before. And you don't fully remember the dream you just woke up. the conversation with Isabel. But there are glimpses of something more that just seem to be in the back of your mind, like that you're trying to grasp hold of. And over the period of the next few days, weeks even, you're kind of like helped by these people, sure, but they also have other things to do. So Sarah is with you a lot, trying to get you to remember things, trying to like help you as someone would try to help someone who had kind of forgotten. And maybe for a while that's good and helpful and easy, but at some point I'm sure it also starts to grind at you. And so the next like month for Anna is interesting because she's informed of her past and things slowly start to come back to you, but not everything. And there's one thing that kind of continues to tug at you. And it's this like, there's something you're supposed to do. And we'll get into that in a little bit later for Anna.
How
but
is what can you say more about what comes back? Like I'm just like picturing Anna, like maybe she's like snapped at Steven or Sarah, who's trying to just help, and then she like kind of feels like shit and like wanders, you know, but is ambulantly not sure why, and like wanders, and like what happens when she like picks up this blade, like Sin's law of like her stuff, like
yeah, it's
she,
interesting because Anna has lived a long life. And so the things that like come back to her in these little pockets are like so small. And for an elf, what was a glimpse kind of shifts and changes. Like these just little moments of like someone saying something and you're like, why is that like giving me deja vu, right? Like very small moments of time come back to you. But nothing substantial, nothing large for a while over that time. I mean, like the things you own, you know they're yours because everyone's told you they are, but they feel foreign to you, right? Like they're just, it almost takes like re-feeling, relearning. Like there's something missing, something there.
Yeah, I guess does she, if she picks up like Sin's law and tries to like go through her paces, like is she bad at them?
She's definitely, if people were to look on at you, she's definitely nowhere near as sharp as she is.
Okay, thanks. I'm just imagining her like putting a mutagen in her mouth that she was told it's hers, and just like spit, just like immediately, just like projectiling it out.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. So she's kind of an interesting thing for a party at this point, like because like you all care for her obviously, but you also have a lot to do in Briarwood, and she's not necessarily currently fit. Like I presume she wants to like not be babysat to walk around the city for a day. You know, like maybe she doesn't want to be held down by this obligation of going to the scrying machine for a day, right? Like she just doesn't have that obligatory feeling in her head, no matter what you tell her, because she doesn't remember it, right? But there is this thing that she's trying to figure out, and she keeps getting drawn back to that necklace around her neck, and she's like wanting to figure out more about it and understand it better.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Next on the docket, for Salig's spellcasting in regimen is Saru. And this could be the same day, I presume. Salig's just like, I got 5th level spells for days. So similar thing. Laying Saru's body out and then starting to play the song. Badass xylophone. And this time you again see the body kind of like disintegrate as it did. And this white light. And as this white light kind of forms around Saru, I need Preston to roll a D100. First and foremost. Love that. You love to see it. Incredible.
Just for the record, on the original table, that's halfling. just pointed it out there.
Seems very important to know that.
Just saying, on the original table, that's halfling.
For the record shows that is halfling. And you see this form start to take place, this shining light. And then it fades. And then the table lay bare. And as you kind of wait and stand there, this hush kind of falls over the room. As you realize it appears that Saru was either chose or was unable to answer the call.
Looks like we didn't solve the problem in Krazik. Can't confirm.
So Saru is missing. The soul not returning to this mortal coil. Pour one out for the Thunderwave cat.
We've only got like 6 subscribers, and you've just alienated one of them.
It was his favorite character.
Unbelievable.
He loved Saru.
How are we going to get renewed for another season?
I don't know. It's going to be tough. Going to have to do a lot of work.
All this time just getting drops ready for Thundercats Ho and Anna saying, "Do you want to know how I got these scars?" Both out the window.
Both drops thrown away. Anna no longer has scars, and the cat is missing. Oh, man. What is this party even?
Just 3 of us still.
Salig, Xerxes, Steven. We're at 8:46, and there's still only 3 of you.
Yep. Looking good.
It's good. It's great. And 2 of you already have embers. What the hell are you guys gonna do?
Yeah.
Yeah, time to go see Gabriel or Michael or whoever that was before, whoever the angel was in the room of doom. we're
That's
going
true.
back.
2 of
You guys
can
can go
in
back.
as well.
You can
Let's
go back to Sins. Yeah, just the 2.
Do it.
Steven,
Oh,
for
yeah,
Steven
yeah.
and Xerxes, buddy. Yeah.
That's
Got
right.
2.
All right. You and me,
One-on-one.
Xerxes, we got it.
This is the shit we got. Hope it's
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah. It'll totally work.
100% of the party now has it, so we're back.
Yep.
Wow, it was really weird. I was watching this D&D show online, and they had like this one session where they all like the season came back, and then the next session, they just got murdered, and it was over. They're so weird.
Yeah.
Oh,
Love it. So, I don't know where that leaves us, but man, I'm so happy. Let me just say, best session 0 ever. I'm very pleased. We've got an amnesiac. Anna has returned. We've got a Saru that is not returned. We've got a lot of interesting tidbits about what's the fuck's going on with Isabel. Just the best role play ever. God, so happy. And then I got a gift from her. So man, everything is just good.
I did enjoy Connor as Anna being like, you might want to double check with Steven to Isabel. That was my highlight.
That's good. She's like, no, he's really mad.
Yeah, like, Isabel, it's fine. Steven, it's on site.
ready for the level 20 time wizard to fight a god on site.
Oh,
that'll be cool.
100%.
That'll be good.
100%.
That'll be good if that never gets worked out.
Yeah.
Your reaction was hilarious, Marshall.
That's when I knew it wasn't scripted. I assumed you two had like worked that out over email. When Connor said that, I was like, "Oh no, that's just Connor as Anna." Like, I think you've misread the situation, friend.
Hold on, man.
Croft just taking the DM seat there, having to deal with whatever Connor was about to throw at him.
I had no idea what he was gonna have.
Impressive work. So
well,
good.
Selig, would you like an ember? If not, I don't really know.
So, if asked that, and I mean, I'm sure that would come up along the way. Selig has now seen a little bit of what this group is up against, and having heard whatever they have shared with him about the overall bigger picture, that's much more easy to believe after having seen what he has seen. He would indicate that with the change in Briarcliff coinciding with, the fact that it wasn't too long ago that he was at the top of the social ladder there and kind of took his own path. He would say he would want to be a part of the group, if nothing else, that would keep those Ember's hands out of, this nefarious character that seems to also be going for them. So it's not so much of a, do you want one? It's a, we just faced a pretty big danger on a regional level, but there's still some meat left on the bone. And even if it's just to prevent somebody else, like he feels like he would be in.
Cool.
Big.
I guess we can put up help wanted signs around Briarwood, like, hey, medical testing underway. Will likely develop weird superpowers. Side effects permanent.
Permanent until death.
Yeah.
Yep.
As much as Steven wants her to, if Amnesiac Anna is... Could we try a greater restoration spell on her?
Yeah, and I'm sure you do.
And it doesn't
I wouldn't
work.
see why you wouldn't. Yeah, and it doesn't have any lasting effect on.
And I don't know if he's done it before, This would be completely up to you, but if he had used that spell before, the resurrection spell, would Selig know if that is usual?
Yeah, so whether or not you've done it before, I'm not sure. Whether or not you have, if that makes sense for Selig to have done, then that's I have nothing against that. But as far as your knowledge of the way that spell works and should work, like you at least have the knowledge there, like, and that would not be an effect of the spell. Like you would expect that the soul to return to the body, especially within that 10-day period. Like that it wouldn't have these lasting effects. Maybe it'd be weird at first, right? Like you were dead, now you're not. But after a week's time, and Anna is still pretty much the same. Like maybe a few little things here and there seem to be coming back, but like it's slow and it's not. You wouldn't expect that. Definitely a little strange. And all the while, she just can't help but be drawn to like the temple or the shrine of Vasquez in the town, right? And she's looking at her necklace and like, this is really similar to that. Doesn't match exactly, but it's really similar. Something about that symbol. Stop following me, Zara. Jesus. So what else over the course of that time in Briarwood? Obviously, you guys are focused on figuring things out, understanding what's going on in the keep, or at least understanding it to some extent. These alien machines, these alien devices, also trying to figure out where these embers are, and kind of getting some locations on possible ideas of where they are and where they're not, at least. What else? Obviously, we got some embers on the board, so there's that. Starting to make plans for where to go. It's also something important.
Is it winter now?
It will be not winter, but close, I think. I think, yeah, actually it will be winter soon. The freezing, which is essentially like December, is happening. So yeah, it will be winter. Essentially the beginning of winter, the end of fall, the start of winter, beginning.
I mean, I think for just Xerxes' part in this, I don't really remember how far away my workshop was.
Not too far. It's just in outside Riverwood, which I don't remember if this map is accurate. I think it is. About 50 miles north, which you could have horses. You have access to horses, so you could get there pretty easy.
So I think he would be, fairly shaken up from the experience. Obviously, he had to kind of like steel himself and try and just drag everyone through everything. And he's no stranger to loss, but he is a stranger to being mind controlled and murdering a bunch of people. So that is kind of weighing on him a little bit. So, essentially he would have told Stephen and Sally shortly thereafter. He would have stuck around to see kind of what the results of the resurrection was, but after that he would need some time. He would give them some kind of date that he would come back and check in or I don't know how long it takes to get 50 miles, but
like you'd get there on the second day,
so he'd say,
or you could ride through the village.
right. I mean, he'd probably say he'd come back every 3 or 4 days just to check in, see how things are going. But he would primarily be working on items in his shop, trying to clear his mind.
You could also bring shit from the keep back to your shop, some of the weird stuff for you to kind of like tinker with or whatever too.
Yeah. I'm kind of envisioning, like, at least at the beginning, like a mental retreat, get back to what he loves, trying to get that out of his head, and then he can come back and spend some time, so maybe it's like a 3-4 day on, 3-4 day off kind of situation, going back and forth between working on stuff in his shop and then trying to decode what the heck was going on in the keep. And he is quite interested in the mind flayers and how to best combat them going forward.
Yeah, he was not happy about that one that got away.
Yep. Not at all.
I think that makes a lot of sense for Xerxes. And he was not really at all interested in the politics side of it.
No, he doesn't care about who's running
to
Briarwood or no. Don't care.
Let the others figure out.
As you and I emailed about Michael, Steven very much does care. So
yeah,
he would be recruiting the remaining mages and trying to build up a power structure there.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, Kalik would be on board with trying to like get something set up, especially like I don't know. I think of it like the city is majorly weakened and like vulnerable. So strengthening it and making it defendable is kind of utmost importance in this moment. And if you guys can get some people in position to kind of help defend this place, I think the general amount of the people here and all that would, it's like this could be a base of sorts for you to work out of, somewhere you could trust as like a safe place at this point, hopefully moving forward. And if you get all the right people kind of in line there, then maybe it could act as that for you. Especially with your travel abilities coming forward, it'd be great to be able to bounce and get back somewhere safe. That isn't like, who knows, like Paragus Lake or something like random. Like this is actually in the middle of stuff rather than out there on the frontier. Cool.
So I can, if you want me to go into more detail on that, I can. But
yeah, either way, I don't know. I have no exact thing to go on here. We're just kind of bebopping at this point. Got to figure out where we are at the end of the road in Briarwood. So it's kind of where we're headed. Figuring out where we're moving, which direction we're heading in.
Steven would like on the political side be referring to himself as a wizard of the First Order.
I love it. It's great. Bone chewing dog here. As far as the mages, you're probably of like you and Kalik are the upper echelon.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of Not especially on the side of like competent battle mages or anything like that. There's a lot of makers here and a lot of like generalists, if you will. And some of these shop owners were like barely of the like in the arcane skill at all. They just had knowledge, you know. But there are certainly people here that can be of use and help in the city. Excuse me.
Stephen also would resume his interactions with Aubrey Ocean Dream.
Yeah, so that is actually something that's of interest. So that probably would have happened actually probably early on.
Yeah.
Once Stephen realized the like substantial amount of people affected, especially in the district, the Platinum District. So the night, literally, I think it was the night before the assault on the keep, was when
The psychic bomb.
there was a huge mind blast, essentially. Yeah, you got like some of you woke up in the middle of the night with nosebleeds from it. I think it was Anna, maybe, who was on her way to Sin's temple, like walked in the door, and somebody kind of like came out falling nosebleed and said like everyone inside is dead, because commoners and the like don't have powerful defenses against things like that.
They got wrecked.
Mechanically have very low hit points.
Yeah.
But yeah, the massive mind blast centered on the Platinum District, essentially centered on the keep itself, and it blasted out and affected tons of people, thousands of people, killing a lot of them, and harming a lot of others. So yeah, that probably would have been on Stephen's mind once he realized that she could have easily been within that kind of radius. But yeah, you do find her, and she is still the land of the living. And so yeah, that is another relationship in Briarwood that you'll be able to upkeep, and actually could be of use outside of just like the relationship, but like she also has they own like a travel company. So you have the Dune Dragon estate that also owns like a boating and things like that, like traveling, and then the Ocean Dreams were the second, and then Isabel's family is actually one of the other like trading co-owners. So she can kind of grow probably into a contact in the city that could be of interest further down the line, like helping kind of set up that, because she's kind of in the upper crust already. So you can kind of help her establish herself too, in the kind of rebuilding of the city. Okay.
I'll type up more thoughts on the stuff with Aubrey.
Totally. I'm very into that. What else do we have? Selig, obviously, now a little more on the hook with some of his contacts, but is there anything specifically that Selig would like be looking to do outside of like the stuff from the email, like the investigation of things and that type of stuff? Obviously, like you need to kind of let everyone know a little more intel on your tree internet travel.
Yeah, and he'd be forthright. And assuming that they were forthright, and I think that we've already had this conversation in game, or I'm just assuming that it happened at some point about the locations. He would share with them where he could get, which is pretty much anywhere in Briarwood, Riverwood, Fort Phoenix. He can get, interestingly enough, assuming that he were to try, who knows what would have happened, what happens if he does. Storotown, he has a connection with something there. He can get to Brandy, and unfortunately or fortunately, at the very least, ironically, Chrysique.
I'm putting little green dots to those places. Those are your tree stride locations.
Maybe he should have said that out loud before Saru decided not to come back.
Just the middle playing his xylophone. You'll wake up, we'll go to Grizzy. Come up!
Remind you, the blue dots are teleportation network that Steven has. And the green dots are tree stride. And the ones inside the wall, kind of. There's more. There's a good amount of trees. You can bounce around to there. So wow, we're really making an interesting web here.
That does make things interesting, especially since it's, we think there is an ember up there by Brandy, not the drink, the singer. And that's north, which is where we'll need to go at some point. Before the end of, or by spring, right?
By spring. The only other thing I can think of that makes sense to mention here, I don't know if this is a nice natural segue, but Steven would have seen if they could have put out a call for a cleric or healer. We have a vacancy, if you will. And feels very much like Elrond looking around his house for people to put on the fellowship.
Picturing the John Travolta gifting.
Yeah, exactly.
Cleric.
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah, you can put out that into the universe.
Well, and I don't know if people already have characters or whatnot, but
yeah, I don't know.
I do think it would be helpful to maybe know who else we got around. Maybe they have a connection to the Lamb Neck Woods where we think something is, or something up north, right? And that might sway our decision on where we might want to go. If, for example, we had additional party members who might have their own thoughts and feelings about a situation.
That is definitely possible. There are some things that have been figured out and some things that are being figured out. I don't want to talk to anyone about some of those things. But there are, I'm not 100% sure where people envision their character does enter the story. Because that is kind of like out of game, like a open, like we can work it in however you wish. That makes sense. For Preston, at least I that one is flexible. I know that. Connor's is extremely flexible. We'll get into that at some point today. But again, don't worry
It's flexible. It's flexible in when my character gets introduced, but unfortunately, I have a character, and my character is not a cleric.
That's not flexible. Yeah. Connor has a character that will be introduced and flexible.
And not
that
you would want
how that happens.
Not that you would want me, like, I know some of you guys know, like, I will be spotty with my attendants. And Michael and I have kind of woven that into the character I'm playing. I don't think you would want me being the cleric.
Yeah.
Being like, and the cleric goes fishing in the middle of our most important combat.
All right, well then, I have one random question and then want to hear more about Anna. Michael, in the Mountain Heart treasure cave, can you look up, were there rubies there?
Perhaps I can look that up. Yeah.
Could you look that up?
You trying to figure out where the rubies came from, or are you trying to figure out if you have?
No, I want to know where rubies are.
Oh God! Figuring out which session it is there. I might have to go to the big doc, the abridged guide.
You could just control F ruby or rubies.
I don't think it'll be in the abridged guide though. Could.
And I can always just go back and try and listen, but I didn't know if you have that at your fingertips, cool. If not, don't worry about it. I'll go to YouTube.
I will have that if I just have to figure out what session when you guys went to the cave. But continue if there's more things.
I just want to hear more about what the thing Anna is wanting now, because that will have an impact on Steven's character arc.
She'd tell you, but she already forgot.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, God. Oh, I think
Do Anna's magical tattoos come with her, or are those gone too?
it's a good question. I'm not sure.
It's a whole new body.
Yeah. That kind of sucks. There goes my AC.
Yeah.
Rip.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I kind of think that they could that the effect could basically still be there, even if the tattoos were gone. Just
Maybe they can rematerialize at a really awesome / plot convenient point.
Yeah.
Like
Who
that.
knows?
Well, since you got broken down to all your atoms, maybe the latent magical energy of the tattoos still exists within inside you.
It's magic. So I'm not really that,
That's good.
It's magic about a character that's not going to be played anymore. So the DM is not going to lose sleep over making a fair ruling.
I hope Anna's not done forever. She might be on the Torgon Guild or making the.
Yeah, we know how that's going.
It's still there. We're not dead yet.
Not dead.
Yeah. Not dead yet, baby.
Just forever backburnered.
Okay. Guess who found it? Pile of iron ingots. 12 copper chalices. 6 crystal balls. 8 base. It's a large trunk filled with fine gowns and noble wear. 12 rusted swords, 7 rusted long swords, 3 wooden shields, silver rapier. 12 intact ceramic busts of dwarves, 18 leather-bound books. Wow, this is a cool-ass place. Yep, there's 400 gold pieces worth of rubies.
Only 400? Oh, never mind.
How many rubies do you need?
A lot.
Well, you got 400 gold pieces worth.
Yeah, that's underwhelming to say the least. I think I need like triple that.
1/3 of it. Maybe there's some in the Briarwood vault.
I need 4 times that amount.
Jesus.
Really,
That's a lot of rubies.
really 8 times that amount to do what I want. So
My word, what spell uses rubies?
we've emailed about this already.
I'm digging my archives.
Yeah. Anyway, so what's the deal with Anna? Is she permanently mind damaged? Is she down to come? What's the deal?
Over the course of that month, every once in a while you see glimpses of what you see as Anna, right? Like there are moments, and you almost like feel like there are moments where like she's gonna be back. Like you can like, but then like the next moment it's different. She definitely becomes kind of obsessive with the symbology of Nafgif. And like I said, kind of like strangely obsessive over the like symbol that came back with her. And it's like small differences to the symbol of Nafgif. It's like red teardrop off the top of the crescent. But yeah, generally speaking, you're not confident in her like ability to like be with you, as far as like she doesn't she's or her necessarily or want to be there. I think there are times that you kind of rope her in on things because she's Anna, and she kind of is there out of obligation because she also knows that she's supposed to be this Anna person that she doesn't quite remember. And there's like that kind of disconnect, like because she doesn't fully remember everything and she doesn't necessarily want to be there, but she also knows that she was this person. And it's probably tough. It's probably hard on the everyone involved. And I think Sarah is absolutely like in this really weird place with Anna. Really trying to like be a part of her and try to like bring her back into this and kind of like rope her into everything, but like also like I don't think Anna necessarily like Anna this new Anna is like kind of stuck in trying to figure out what happened to her during this dream. She's less interested in finding out what happened to her before she was dead. She's more interested in figuring out what happened to her while she was dead. And I don't know if she tells you all that, right? That's just like what she's focused on the inside. There's something that's kind of been triggered in her, this like quest, if you will, this thing that she is being pulled to follow, this like she feels like she's being pulled along this path, and it doesn't. It's a divergent path from the one that your party's on.
Does Anna ever get like I don't know if you're still workshopping things out or like don't want to totally hijack this on the show, but like did she ever get like a flash of insight of like a knowledge of like where she needs to go and what she needs to do if she's like feeling this tension? As like, you know, I'm imagining like we're coming towards the end of this month or whatever this time period is, and like she kind of knows people are going to go somewhere to keep chasing these embers. But
Yeah, I
she ever even
do think that comes to her at some point. This like kind of essentially like vision, like while she's sleeping, right? Like in a dream of like something. She doesn't really know what it is, but knows she needs to figure it out, right? Like this thing. And that's kind of something that she throws herself into, trying to figure out. Possibly like just like kind of isolating herself from the rest of this group in that time.
Does Anna have one of the embers?
No.
No.
It's Stephen and Xerxes.
Yeah, it depends on how you define Isabel.
Those embers are off the board.
Well, I'd say we did pretty good allocating those embers. Like,
Yeah.
What else do I have? Okay. So thoughts on direction?
I mean, we know there's a point of interest in Lamnak, both from knowing that there's probably a thing there and also the map, the triangle, with the lines pointing towards it.
Sorry, remind me what the triangle and the lines point. What are you referring to?
In the email. Looking. Points of interest, locations. Oh, let's see. Oh, where was it? More or less, there's a dot. We found a map from either the Illithid or the Unseen or somebody that had a dot on Greyforge, Mountain Heart, and Briarwood, I believe. And they were each marked. There was a triangle mark between them, and then each city had a line going straight from the city towards the center of the map, which is the spot in the Lamnek Woods that there's a ember.
I completely forgot about that, so I'm
That's
glad you
hey,
said
Mike,
something,
Michael?
Preston.
Michael,
Yeah, that's supposed to be right there. Yeah.
would my character have maybe been to this place where this ember is and not have even known it?
Who's to say?
Well, I mean, so like the reason I'm asking is because I think the party could use a push. This would be a wild push.
Uh-huh.
But it just dawned on me of that's where it might be.
Well, it's
But
either
it's-
that. Sorry, go ahead, Preston.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the only spot that we even have any sort of like,
Okay.
as
I
far as
think
what
I
we've
can-
undercovered from Briarwood.
the
That's
only
always-
Big brain death.
the only other one I was gonna say, because we can literally go right there right away, is Brandy, and because Salad can tree walk there, and we know via the Calyx super telescope that his amplifier, that there's an ember around there, so we could go there first, pick up another ember, then go straight south to the Lamb Neck, but that's really picking nits. Like both of those are very good options. I was the only reason I said Brandy is because of ease of transportation. We can.
I think though, didn't we have the impression it was in the hills just north of Brandy, or I imagine? Yeah,
like a cave right to the north of it.
Like that could use more than 3 people, potentially. We could be walking into another.
All of these are going to need more than 3 people. That's who we have, though. So,
yeah, I guess think about it. I think if you let me take a pee break, my character can maybe come swoop in and give the party a reason to go towards Lame Neck first. If you want to go toward Brandy, my character can be introduced just fine with you guys as well. But how I was feeling as really watching the 3 amongst the living people, of being like, what do we do now? So if you're also feeling that and want a little bit of a push, I think I could bring it.
Once again, Marshall is not opposed to going to Lamb Neck first. It is now the practical, logistical part of me that it is going to be winter. Walking in the snow sounds not fun. So, that's a long walk somewhere. That's because we would have to require Ring of Worms for everybody. Or I don't know, maybe we don't need to, maybe it'll just be uncomfortable, but
I mean, surely the kind people of Briarwood would offer up their rings of warmth to their new supreme overlord, Stephen, a wizard of the First Order, after he puts out a demand for it as tithe for his magnanimous behavior in saving their town.
Beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and I wasn't more thinking on the practical side. I was thinking of character motivation side.
Yeah.
But if you guys, if you have one, or if there are one,
I am supporting going to Lamb Neck. I was just we could go to Brandy first because it's an even lower hanging fruit. That's the only. I am not. It was just this seems even more convenient. That's all. That's the only thought.
I mean, Xerxes was leaning toward Lamb Neck prior to learning of Salig's ability to move through tree, and does have interest in that specific region. Maybe.
Then it sounds like we're going to the Lamb Neck, and I am on board.
If we need him to be the pusher, I can have a strong opinion about that if we need to, just to move us in a direction.
Did anybody around Briarwood in all of their research trying to cover stuff have any idea what the marsh could mean or where it could be? Or anything about someone named Zalrel?
That was Glint's lady, right?
Was it?
Was it?
Wasn't that the thing you had on your map that we found?
No.
Gosh, there's so many damn threads. I can't keep them all straight.
New info regarding Chaos Legion uncovered from the Keep is a note from an unknown member of Chaos Legion found in their war room of the Unseen, which is this.
That one. Marsh grows with each passing minute. We await the promised sacrifice. Once it arrives, the birthing pool will be ready, and our prince will be born again into the depths.
Other question, maybe related, maybe not related. So we mentioned how there were some people that were able to recover from, the mind flayers
Yes. There were some.
attacks or whatever. Would any of them have lingering memories, lingering visions of their possessors? Like their mind gets possessed, so that person that's possessing could see their thoughts and act on them, but then it could reverse the other way, even though they weren't really aware of it. But after they're free of it, they have like, oh, while I was under their control, I could feel or see their thoughts, visions.
Yeah, most of these people were, fairly weak of mind in comparison to like a, say, player character or adventuring party type. And like they could absolutely feel basically the hive mind, like all kind of thinking as one, like hearing everything as one, like this like overshadowing voice, like of the dream. Like that's like a major theme of all of their thoughts. It's like this being, this dreamer, if you will. But I don't think anything fleshed out more than that.
Okay.
From kind of those types of peoples. And yeah, as far as like anything about the name Zolrel or the marsh or anything, like there's not a marsh in the Lamnic Woods. At least there's not supposed to be.
Okay.
Like Arthur would be able to tell you that. Like the Lamnic Woods are like good hunting ground throughout. Like there's supposedly like, doors or whatever, windows to the Feywild like hidden throughout, right? Like it's like this wood that is generally only traversed by those who know how to get through it, things like that. But like, it's not supposed to have a marsh in it, supposedly.
Okay.
That don't mean there isn't. But who is to say? On all of Borseal's maps, there's no marsh noted in Lamnic Wood.
Did you know it looks like a marsh? Starrow Town.
Perhaps.
They do. They do look a little marshy over there.
I would just assume that I wouldn't have taken that literally. Like the marsh is like, if you're talking about the promised sacrifice, the birthing pool will be ready and our prince will be born again. Yeah, I'm thinking that's got to be the whatever that prince is. That's the gelatinous cube that eats everything that's a demon.
The Jeweeblex?
Yeah, and the marsh is just like, I don't know, a metaphor type. Like the tsunami is growing or something. But it's not a literal tsunami, but it's like just his power is growing.
The only thing growing is the 18-inch straw that you're drinking your drink out of.
This thing, isn't this wonderful?
Yes.
You fit half a gallon of water.
That's 100% facts. I've noticed that all night.
Maybe Will's onto something though. That line of thought.
I wish he just had like a hamster straw.
That rivals the damn super mug that Croft had once or twice. Or whatever it was.
Oh!
Freaking cask that you had or whatever.
Yeah, that thing started leaking. I had to get
So
rid
wish the drinking horn was still around. Those were the days.
Got one around here somewhere.
Whale?
Whale? What else? Anything else? Anything else?
What's our travel option for the Lamnak?
I have to use the teleportation sigil to Paragus, I guess.
Argus would be good.
Or tree walk to Brandy and walk south.
Horse and buggy.
Horse and buggy, also an option.
The
Cintrell
Yofun.
to the crossing. Crossing over. That's what I see. Who knows if there's a teleportation sigil in the Cave of the Abyss? Who knows? Who's to say if there was any or not? Before the skeletons started attacking.
I would say,
Everybody loves a good skilly attack.
just in case we did want to get more specific for Michael's purposes, Xerxes would suggest going to the crossing and going through the woods from there, only because that's the route he's familiar with.
Sense.
Good. Crossing major city. I mean, as far as major cities go, that aren't as big as like Briarwood. It's probably closer to the size of like a Fort Phoenix.
Yeah, Saleg would be on board with that because the guy playing Saleg still wants to crack that old Vandori.
I was gonna say she's over there.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, I hope somebody else remembers whose character would have a reason to remember this.
There's now only two, so
We need to hire a bard to travel along to keep the history of the group.
We just lost him too.
With like a bard that always fishes and then shows up after the battle.
Who
Write
needs a
everything
bard
down.
and who needs a cleric? And who needs a paladin, for that matter?
We need our own. We need our own Tom Exposition.
Yeah, we do. Hey there. I've been watching you guys for a while. I wrote all this down. But
Wanna buy a car?
so there's an option. As far as Rings of Warmth go, there is some options for those if you did want them, I think.
Could you talk about mechanically, like what traveling in winter is like in the Vale?
I mean, it just depends on how the calendar decides it is, because that's how the weather impacts. But generally speaking, the further north you go, the worse it gets for weather. Like, I'd say generally south of the Lamnik River is like easier than it is to the north side of it when it gets like actually wintry. But for the next month or so, like the freezing is December. If it's mild December, then you're probably fine. It's not going to be any deal at all. The following month is deep winter, and like it will get like cold at that point. So like mechanics as far as like you're gonna want the hut or whatever to sleep in at night. During the day, your travel will be slowed if it's heavy snow, things like that. But generally speaking, we're at a level where like, okay, well, you can get at least a couple rings of warmth, and ways to survive. But if you're planning to take a bunch of horses and stuff through like deep snow for weeks at a time, well, that's probably gonna be bad. you're gonna die. Your horses are gonna die. You're gonna have to eat your horses. But I wouldn't suspect for the next month that you'd have to worry too much, especially with the escape options you have. Like, I will just fucking teleport us back. We will jump through a tree. There's, especially if you're up near the landmark, it's like there's going to be some big trees we can jump through. Like, it's not like we're in the plains and we don't have a tree to stride through. Or we don't have a minute for Steven to draw a teleportation sigil on the ground. So it's not as much of a worry as it could be from like earlier in the campaign. You guys were having to walk absolutely everywhere. Like, you at least have the option to escape the cold if it does come. So it's like 30, 60-ish some odd days until the first of Stormfall, which I know you guys are kind of interested in that date. You need to advance the calendar like a month. But I can do that all at once. I think the sandbox crashed again. Something is breaking it, and I don't know what it is. They changed all the UI for it. It's confusing. So what do we think? We're crossing. We're going towards the crossing.
I think so. That's what it sounds like.
Of that. By way of Paragus or Central?
Probably Paragus.
I was about to say one sounds a little sketchier than the other.
Yeah, considering I don't think we saw the sigil at Central. If we did, I don't remember it. And either way, I'd rather not. And Anna and Sarah are not coming, I'm guessing. Cool. Very cool.
Xerxes would offer to Sarah. I mean, I don't know how far we want to go, but they can stay at his shop, rest up. He can kind of teach her how to do maintenance on her arm, and he could even show her how to make like some trinkets if they needed to sell items or what have you, just to make a living while recovering. I don't know if that's cool or not cool.
No, that's definitely of interest. If they want to get out of the city, like for a time. And I think there's also something interesting story-wise there, of getting outside of Briarwood, getting Anna outside of Briarwood. Could be like helpful. Let's say they pass by a certain tavern on the way. That could be interesting. We could see that scene sometime later. But that could be of interest, I think. So that's like an offer that would be like they would take that, I think. And after you guys end up leaving town, you might see them kind of heading out of the city at some future.
I'd like to kind of like, if we're gonna put the bow on this, you don't mind me role playing a little bit more here.
Not at all.
I'd like to spring it on Marshall, and I'm kind of thinking about Anna, and like obviously Sarah's going to be with her, and she knows that Sarah's important, but like I think she's noticed enough that Steven's important, and not just like been what's explained to her, but just like my picture of Steven is someone like who still wears a lot of his emotions on his chest. And I think I know he's getting harder, and maybe like Anna in her right mind would almost be disturbed at how at this hardness that Steven is developing. But there's like this, like, somewhere in the back of Anna, she's like, he's not doing well, and I know that's bad. And just like this push. So, but I think she would want to be like, you know, we've kind of had like this goodbye, and I can sort of picture in my mind like Steven, like kind of like trying to be polite, but trying to lean toward of like, sure you don't want to come? Like, maybe something will like hit you, you know. But she's gonna wait until she knows she can like get Steven, like, you know, evade Sarah, leave her abandoned, wait until she knows like this now important Steven, you know, doing things in the city, you know, developing relationships with powerful young women, until she can get him alone, and like she just knows she needs to have like a conversation with him. And so I don't quite know where or when she would approach him, but she would sort of like approach him somewhere like private. And I guess I'll start. She kind of comes to Steven. I was thinking, I was looking. I have like good chunks of the middle of the conversation, but like I was like, how do you start this?
Steven's wondering the same thing, so we're good. We're all good here.
She'll be like, look, I really appreciate everything you've done for me, Steven. You've been very kind and very patient. I don't really have a good idea of how hard seeing me, Anna, but not Anna, has been for you. I don't have an experience like that, but I can see it's just one more, and from what you've told me, it's just one more disappointment, one more, I'm sure it feels like a failure, one more, you know, thing that didn't work out, and I am sorry. She kind of like pulls out her the necklace, and I'm gonna make a wild assumption that, you know, Anna doesn't really remember the dream, but you know, Steven's not a dumb person. And the fact that Anna came back from the dead wearing the symbol of not deep, like, I bet Stephen blames Isabel. And maybe that's making too big of a leap of faith. But you know, but she'll like kind of fiddle and like, something clearly happened, and I need to figure it out to be of any use. I've been trying. I've been in Sin's temple early in the morning, as early as I can stand, with the blade. And I know I'm supposed to hear something. I have these fleeting memories of hearing something. And but I can't grasp it. I can't hear it. Something is blocking me from being who I once was. And she kind of like turns at him and is like, this will be goodbye, but I'm sure it's not forever. And then maybe some of her old hardness comes back. She's like, I will figure out what happens to me. I feel firmly that my place in all this is not yet done. And when I do figure out what happened to me, why I am changed, why I'm different, I will come back and fight. You have my word.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's been clear that something or someone or someones are holding you back from what you once were, and obviously that's not your fault. I'm glad to hear that. This present state is not what you want to become the status quo. We need you in the fight. I look forward to standing by you in that moment, and I think we're both looking for the people or the forces responsible, and probably be better if you found out first.
A wise man once told me that the most important step one can take is the next one. And then she'll kind of like look and she'll be like, that sounds right. I will take my next step and you will take yours, and I will be back. And she'll kind of nod and leave.
So good. Complicated. Love how complicated these relationships are getting. This needs to be a television show. Just great.
We can't be killing off our best characters like this. We're gonna do that. Saru, get back.
We'll see who shows back up, you know? All right, so Anna and Sarah kind of depart for the time being, going in a different direction from the quote main line here, which we will be figuring a little bit out about. Mainline who is headed towards the crossing by way of Perry's Lake. That's the plan.
Yep, all three of us.
Love that. You'll have to see it. Calic obviously staying back and essentially trying to continue the work you've started with like reestablishing Briar and reestablishing it as basically like your fallback position, fortifying it, rebuilding it, etc., etc.
I did have a random thought, Michael. Arthur was with us, right?
Yeah, Artie's with you.
Will we fill in what he's up to later? I mean, I know it's kind of like real life bleeding in there as well, but
Yeah, without 100% knowing, Nick's intentions with Arthur. I don't want to say that he doesn't or does come at this point. I have a lot of paths that I can see Arthur doing, especially just with what his character has done before. Like I could see it being like, you know what? Come with us to Fergus Lake. We go to the crossing. You head up to Duskfall. Like go back up to the Hollow. Meet up with all those people. Get a few people and meet us in the middle. Like, you know, Xerxes is like, I'm familiar enough with some Lamnic travel. We'll be fine, you know, kind of deal. Like, we don't necessarily need you to get us through the Lamnic, right? I could also see him coming with you and being your guide, right? So there's some things that's like, you know, I don't necessarily know. Obviously, without, you know, it's if Nick isn't returning soon, it's like, okay, I'd rather Arthur leave because it's like, I'm not gonna run him as an NPC and put an ember on him or something. Like, we'll find a different NPC to like join if that's necessary at that point. But if he does plan on returning at some point in some capacity, it's like, oh yeah, I'm fine with him fishing, right? That's totally cool. He can be your guide and give you those rangery things. That's just like we can get through it pretty easily with him, some type thing. Opciones. You do have contact with the Hollow from the Sending Stone, so you can get in contact with them if necessary. At this point, there isn't like anything they have to report. Like things are as they have been up there. But
those doors still chilling there?
The dwarves have left. The dwarves include Dvalin has done. So the dwarves are off. They were done being there, and they bounced. Peace. But other than that, it's kind of status quo. Fent, I think, is there? Question mark. Is that true?
Fent and Borsil.
I don't even.
Borsil
That's
is
where we
there.
left them, yeah.
I know Borsil is there. Yeah.
At some point, if Borsil wants to come home, we can probably help facilitate that.
Yeah, I mean, Borsil probably be great to know. I think his sister was sucked into the abyss or something. Like, not the abyss, but I think she was.
I think she was.
I think she was one of the.
Or was it his wife?
Cousin? There was a relation.
Somewhat related, yeah.
She was one of the unlucky ones that was sucked into the astral plane. Which is just too bad for that storyline.
Yeah.
Saru was very close, if I remember.
Yes.
I remember
Yeah.
sucked in. Love it. Great. So yeah, I mean, Borsil does have his buddy up there that owns a bookshop, so you know he's fine. For now.
Okay.
He
Cool.
probably eventually wants to come back, but it's not like you can't. It's hard to bounce exactly there. So maybe on one of your return trips, if you're swinging by, he'd be interested. Or maybe if Arthur diverges and goes up that way, Arthur can pick him up. Because Borsil deserves to be a member of this party, and honestly deserves one, maybe two members at the beginning. So
At least.
I agree on that. What else? Any other thoughts that we shall cover tonight?
Do we get to know who our party members are?
Perhaps they can tell me if they're at that point. If not, then that's fine too.
Not me.
Yeah, I don't know who my character is yet.
Right.
Yeah, that could be a good thing.
Yeah. It actually is a good thing. We have a druid, a gunslinger, and a wizard. plan
A
accordingly.
lot of options. Yeah, a lot of options there.
All gunslingers.
Just say, yeah.
I like that idea.
Cannon party only.
What do we
One
got?
gets a pistol, one gets a musket, one gets a sawed-off buckshot.
Honestly, you could cover every
Situation, every
every
single
range
one.
increment.
Yeah.
Great.
Gunslinger artificer. They get like a cannon
Yeah,
or a grenade
It's true.
launcher
or a pet robot.
or a robot.
We need more NPCs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we just
we're
lost one.
we're really low on our NPC
Yeah.
count for
It's
what's
really
normal.
It's really cool.
Well, we'll pick them up. It's inevitable.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Insert
Find
female NPC here.
something. Go find
Yeah.
something somewhere.
A tradition as old as time.
It's true.
Can I be all three of those dwarves at once?
That'd be awesome, actually.
In a
The dwarves
overcoat.
in a trench coat.
Wearing a trench coat. Sure.
Well, my character's ready to go.
It's true. It is true.
So, did Steven actually put out the try to like through the Whisper Network be like, hey, we could really legitimately use some cleric, or like we could use some help?
Yeah, I think so. Like, at least would have talked to Calic about it. Of there's any healer cleric who wants to go on a life or death sort of mission. Anyone you want to? Any names come to mind?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that he puts out some kind of alert, and like he has connections to the like underground of Briarwood, and so he's like trying. He's also looking for people just to help with the rebuilding of things. With like, so I think he puts that word out, and he's like talking to the powers that be in their positions, like, and he's like, I'm really looking for someone that I can trust, that I can send with people, and so the word kind of tumbles down into, whoever it may catch. So yeah, there is word that's on it, I think.
So, can you imagine what Calic would be like if he was having to bring Stalig and Steven and Xerxes of like, hey, didn't find a cleric, but someone here is claiming she knows where you're supposed to go in the Lamnic.
Yeah, I'm into that. Yeah, I think. Yeah. Okay. So this, Calic, this dwarven man who's been shot in the fucking head by Xerxes and is still alive, by the grace of two otherworldly elven twins, who he cannot remember and does not have any memory of. But yeah, this dwarven man comes to you. I know we're getting close to when you're headed out. And I have, you've been busy doing all of the things, trying to get this place up to snuff. Is this my voice? Probably all dwarves sound like this. Things change when you die, I haven't found you that healer, not a cleric, but from my vague knowledge of your group, you used to have a bit of a more get in there and beat the shit out of people type attitude. I might have found someone that could fill that role, though I'm not sure you'd believe me looking at her. Well, anyway, she knows more than I give her credit for. She seems to have this want to go to the Lamnic. It was odd, but I've vetted her to some extent, and I think we can trust her. But maybe you should. Maybe you should talk to me. So. Hey, you can't play this game, dog. There is no dog in the room. But basically, Calic open the door. Just this is her.
So in walks a dark-skinned young woman. She is in monk's garb. She is immediately noticeable because her hair is different colors. I think it's 5 different colors on her head: green, black, red, white, and these big dreads. You know, she, the viewers, all 6 of them, will notice that she looks older than the last time they saw. They can get over the shock of being like, what the fuck is she doing here? You know? So, and I picture her like she's smoking the equivalent of whatever a cigarette would be in this world. And she sees you guys, and she pulls another one out of her mouth and just like lights it with like a little quick breath of the flame out of her mouth, and starts smoking it again. And is like, oh, I know it. I'm always disappointing when you first meet me, but I promise. She'll look at you guys. She'll look at Xerxes. She'll be like, okay, we can work with this. Every group needs a grandpa. I've been with a lot of groups, and any group that doesn't have a grandpa is bound to fail. I think I can roll. And then she'll look at Steven. And she'll kind of like look at Steven, and she'll be like, you know, I kind of thought you would be more impressive being like God King of this place now or something. But maybe I should be careful. I think you could probably kill me. You've got that look behind your eyes. And then she'll like take a big drag. Blow out the smoke.
Does she have any comments on Selig? No, great. Even better.
Doesn't even notice him standing behind the desk because he's a short lizard man.
So, this sounds weird, but I know where you need to go in the landmap. It's been a while, but I've been there before. It's been a few years. But, there's like an underground temple. There was a wizard who was down there. What was like Excalibur? Evander? Come on, you guys have been places. Does that name ring a bell? Anyways, he had a temple down there in the land neck, and I am just sure that's where, based on everything my good buddy Calic here has told me, that you guys need to go. So, I would like to get there myself. I might have unfinished business down there. So, I lead you there. I'm pretty good at like punching and kicking shit. And you guys do whatever you got to do to, you know, fix the place up around here. And we're good. That sound okay?
It's good. The audience looks on in disbelief. As Maddie, just a little older, meets the party.
Good to know someone's got plot armor. Not here. In the other one.
Possibly. So a monk, a wizard, a gunslinger, and a druid? Is that where we're at?
Yup.
Into it? I'm into it. It's very good, honestly. Who knows what the other roles will be? Or where you'll find them. But something tells me that. Okay. I don't know if there's anything else that I have to cover. Anything anyone can think of before we say we're caught up and ready to go to Paragus Lake. Ready to go from Briarwood to Paragus Lake. Where have I heard that one before? It'll be quicker to stop. Be a much quicker journey.
Yeah.
Like a blink of the eye to get there. So that's fun. And then towards the crossing. I would say you could bring like a horse or something, but the teleportation circuit's at the top of the wizard tower, so that might be a little difficult.
We'll just bring a horse just to push one off the tower.
Yeah.
That was the very near the area. You could visit Bojack Horseman's corpse or burial ground in Sargeran.
Sargeran, we hardly knew.
He almost made it to Paradise.
Excited to read Michael's inbox over the next week.
Can't wait.
A lot of lines to be filled in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Can I roll my hit die for level 12?
Yeah, absolutely. What are you, D2?
Might as well be. D6. Yep.
Where's my D6 there? Oof. Gonna have to do it all yourself. There you go. 4 ain't bad.
Level 12, 73 hit points.
I don't know if that's good or bad, to be honest.
Oof.
I only roll 2s.
Yuck.
Only roll 2s. X Factory needs some hit dice.
Yeah, I was
I don't know
trying.
what
I was trying to get my my sheet up, and now
I don't
I've
know if
lost
you're
it.
an 8 or a 10. I'm not sure.
I think it was a 14.
D14.
Yeah, D14.
Okay.
If I just hit die, that'll work, right?
Yeah, it'll add your con mod to it.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's max. You got an 8. So you're good.
That's fun.
Just literally add that. I'll roll just for fun.
Hey, let's double it. All right, 16.
Hilarious. It's like when it doesn't even matter. It's good.
That puts me at 99.
Nice.
Almost 3 digis. The 3 of you that will be leveling up to 12. I can roll the 12 or 11 variations of your hit die. Just let me know when you know what they are, because if you're like multi-classing into 12 different
You want to roll?
classes,
You want to roll 7? You want to roll 7 d8s?
you can absolutely. Can I tell it to just do that? Yeah.
78s.
Monk. 5th to 12th.
Oh, got it.
There you go. Just take them in that order, because you should be able to beat a good amount of those. I
A
hope.
lot of them.
Woof. Well, a couple. Yeah. No, I barely helped. I helped one time.
Yeah.
Kill me with 1 hit point.
I helped one time. You're welcome. Twice? No,
All right.
once.
Now that we're such a high level campaign, Michael's got it set to no help mode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did.
And there's a lot going on with the 12th level monk.
Yeah, I'm horrified by that. 27 attacks. Can't die when pushed off of a building. Not that you're going to be at a lot of buildings.
Yeah, like, is that going to be an issue?
Can't die when pushed off of tall tree.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've got the immune. I'm just completely immune to disease and poison.
Yeah, I figured disease and poison is just useless at this point.
Yeah.
Restoration and what else? What other characters? Oh, well, I guess not that you had power. If you did that. Woof.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Well, when are we playing
Great.
next?
I thought it was 2 weeks, right?
It'll 2 weeks minimum.
Okay.
I'd like to see if we can get everybody at that first one back whenever that is, so like we can figure that out. If somebody can't make 2 weeks, then we'll just push it and figure it out. When we get back. I'm sure I can use the time, to prep if we need it. So, but I think the first one back, have everybody in. Then from then, if Connor's going to bounce in and out, it's totally fine and workable. But I think he might be useful to have everybody there just to start us off.
Did you get everything you needed out of this one?
Yeah, I think so.